Hello and welcome to Drunk on Tea. Today I'm going to be doing an out of the pack review of this Imperial Dead Dog with Standard miniature, kindly sent to me by Wargame Exclusive. I'm going to show you how to build the model, give you some idea about working with third-party resin miniatures. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the staple on the back of this packet so I can get to the model inside. I'm simply removing the staple here, and the rest of the packet will come off nice and easily. A lot of these models from Wargame Exclusive coming a little baggy, holding all of the parts with the base separate. So I'm going to take a look at the parts, see what the casting details like, and give you an idea of the quality of these models from Wargame Exclusive. So the first part I'm looking at here is the standard. As you can see, it's really well sculpted. There isn't any mould lines or anything like that on the model. The detail's perfectly visible. And there's basically no cleanup to be done on this part of the model. So now with the torso here, you can see I've got a little bit at the bottom that I'll need to remove. I'll do that shortly. The rest of the model is perfectly sculpted, loads of detail all over the model. Once again, there's hardly any cleanup required. This model is going to look absolutely fantastic when it's built together. A lot of these Dead Dog models make great proxies for your Imperial Guard armies for games of Warhammer 40k. Great just for mixing up some of the look from the troops. So you get some unique looking models in amongst all the rest of your GW sculpts. So for the legs here, you can see they're also looking absolutely perfectly sculpted. There's a tiny little bit of a line that might need to be removed, as well as the gates. It's the same here on the arms. All the details really smooth and perfect. I just have to remove the little bit on the shoulder before I put the model together. The other arm's much the same, perfectly sculpted. Just a tiny little bit to remove on the top of the arm. Other than that, there's no cleanup needed on this model. Quality control from Wargame Exclusive is really good. Finally, this is the top of the standard pole. You can see I've got a little bit there to remove. I'll also clean up the bottom just so it fits nicely together, so it will be all nice and smooth without any gaps. Finally, we get a base. It's pretty standard. If you don't have any, so you can buy hundreds of bases really cheap online. For cleaning up the torso, I'm coming in with my snippers first, just removing this little bit here. It's resin, so it breaks off nice and easily. And I'm just coming in with a scalpel here. I'm simply just going to scrape off any lumpy bits so I get a nice smooth fit between the top and bottom parts of the torso. I'm just scraping this off until it's nice and flat. I'm just double checking the rest of the model, making sure there's no other mould lines or anything like that removed. It's much the same on the feet. I'm just simply removing these parts here. And then I'm going to scrape these down. They've got a nice flat fitting onto the base. So you're making sure not to accidentally remove any of the sculpted on tread to the boots. Just here you can see there's a tiny little line with a mould slip or something. So I'm simply scraping this off with my scalpel so I get a nice smooth part on the model. Being really careful on all the other details, just getting rid of that line. Now I'm going to do a dry fit here just to make sure I'm happy with how the torso and the legs fit together. That's a nice smooth fit there. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of super glue. I like to use one of the ones with a brush. The super glue's getting a bit old, so the lid's getting stuck on, but it still works absolutely fine. So I'm going to take a small blob of super glue, apply it to the torso. And then where I dry fitted it before, I fit the two parts together and hold them for a few seconds so the super glue bonds. You don't have to hold them for long. Super glue does dry really quickly. And And then we've got the torso attached to the legs on this model. It's fitted really nicely without any gaps. So now for the arms, once again I'm snipping off any of these parts here and then smoothing the piece down with my scalpel. Get a nice smooth attachment so these parts won't stick out against the model in any way. I'll get a nice flush fit between the arms and the body. So I'm going to do this to all of the parts that are left. So both the arms. I'm just snipping off these parts here from the moulding. Smoothing down where I made that cut. You can use files and things for this as well, but resin's nice and soft. So using a scalpel blade is absolutely fine. And now for this spike here, for the top of the standard, I'm going to be really careful. Make sure I follow that line, following the angle of the spike. I don't want to cut in and cause any ruts or divots or anything like that. And then I'm just cleaning off part where I snipped it, so it's nice and smooth. Now I'm going to attach that ball joint to the top of the standard, simply applying a little bit of super glue and holding the two parts together until they form a solid bond. There isn't a lot of surface area on this, so make sure you hold it for a little bit longer than you normally would, just to make sure that super glue forms a nice strong bond. Now it's time to apply the first arm. So once again, a little bit of super glue. Then I'm putting this into place so I know where it fits on the model. By having this arm in place, I'll be able to line up the standard and the other arm a lot easier. So once that arm is safely glued in, I'm going to take in the other arm, applying a little bit of super glue into the hole. I'm going to attach this to the hand that's holding the standard. Let's get ensuring I get a nice solid bond between the two before I move on to the next step. And that will be to put a little bit of super glue onto the arm we've already glued and the shoulder, and then line these two parts up so they glue in nice and easily. It can be a little bit fiddly, so make sure you do your dry test fits first, and then once that super glue has bonded, that is all of the model put together. So now the final step is just to apply him to his base. He's looking really nice. No real visible gaps on the model. So now to put him on the base, I'm simply applying a little bit of super glue to the feet, finding the spot on the base that I want him to stand, and holding him until I get a really tight bond between the model and the base. Once he's stuck to the base, that is how to build this dead dog with standard model by Wargame Exclusive. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see me paint this model up. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy painting!